Hey YouTube, it's Ember Honey Raven, the Big Fat Witch. How are you guys? I want to show you what probably is going to be my new favorite tarot deck. I'm going to do a little flip through of this deck for you and maybe talk a little bit about each card, and I just have to show this to you. So there is a review of this deck also on Arwen's channel. I wanted to do my own review and just show you in case you missed it on hers and maybe offer up some new thoughts. You guys, I got this deck. US Games sent this over. And I have to show you. It is amazing. It's, like I said, probably one of my new favorite decks. It is the LeGrande Circus and Sideshow Tarot by Jolie. As you can see, it is very colorful. It's got a beautiful box. I love, US Games does such quality decks. I really love this. But this is the box. When you go into the box, these are really sturdy boxes. I love it when they come in actual hard boxes like this because I am rough on my tarot decks. So this is amazing. So this is what you have inside. This is the backs of the cards. They're like the clown imagery. I have to say, so this entire deck is done. Jolie is the illustrator. Okay, this is his deck. This guy is clearly a professional illustrator, but you guys, he also went to clown college. Like there's a clown college from, I think Barnum and Bailey does it or whatever. And he was, this is like a professional clown. So he knows all about the circus life, all about circus atmosphere. And he did this deck. So what you're about to see is totally amazing. You get the cards, you get the box. And they do give you a very nice size black and white booklet that tells you, all about each card. And again, you guys, US Games, they do tarot decks, books, oracles. They do all kinds of different stuff. And if you want to check out their website, I'm going to put a link down below. I'm not getting paid, or anything. So I'm not making any money off of this. I just really love their products. So I want to share those with you. So their book is a good size book. I hate it when you get these little tiny postage stamp size books. This one's actually readable. It's really, really nice. So I will do a little bit of a flip through. I'm going to actually angle my camera down so that you can see the cards down here. And we will go from there. Okay, let's see if I can do this without being completely crazy. Okay, so again, here are the decks that you have, or the cards that you get. So this is just the top card. This is the sideshow. And as you can see, the cards have a gorgeous kind of old truck show feeling to them. And a truck show would be the little traveling circus type shows where everything was in trucks and they would drive around. And they kind of have this like 1930s, 1940s feel. You do get a card that tells you about Jolie. And for instance, this card, he sees from rural Indiana. It does tell you about, he's got a degree in medieval history. He did go to Barnum and Bailey Clown College. He worked as a professional circus clown with Ringling Brothers and other shows. And then he kind of left circus life and moved to New York. And he teaches art classes, and he's done gigs as a fire eater. So Jolie sounds like a really cool guy. I'd like to have a beer with him. So, yeah. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about each card. I made a few notes over here on my laptop so that I can kind of, do that. But I'll do my best to show this to you. So this is the Fool, the first card in the deck. And, your Fool is, if you look at this clown is kind of stepping out into danger over the lion's mouth. And this card really represents kind of starting a new journey, the pursuit of a goal maybe, and maybe some, some danger. But I love the imagery. I love that there are like so many clowns and, actual circus imagery here. And then you have the Magician. I'm trying to do this where the light does not glare, but that's going to be difficult. There we go. So your Magician, this is a manipulator of the elements. This can summon, angels and demons. And as you can see, the angel and demon is underneath, his big top summary there, or maybe the earth and fire and water. And it basically represents the power of unseen forces or mystery. And it represents, the craft, or your actual craft or study over intuition. So anytime you see this, maybe Magician feels a little bit intuitive to you, but it's actually about craft. It's actually about studying and the actual artistry of it. This is the Popus. You guys may recognize her as a fortune teller or a gypsy. This card, unlike the Magician, is all about intuition. This card says, follow your gut, listen to your highest feelings. As you'll notice on these cards, the coloring is amazing. The imagery. I love this card, the Empress. She is the circus fat lady. She's one of my favorite images. This is like the queen of the flesh. She's like the earth shaker. She represents fertility and bounty, and yeah, she's amazing. All things feminine and divine. This is the Emperor. He's the ringmaster. He's your symbol of masculine energy in this deck, like the most masculine. And he carries, he carries a whip because he really expects obedience, not just from the audience, but from the animals. So he's kind of running things with all his masculine energy there. And then you have the Pope. The Pope really represents, the day-to-day operations of the circus, but he's the owner of the circus. He represents, kind of the institution of the circus, the operation, authority. Most of the time is a masculine figure as well. Oh, you know what? Let me go down here and see if I can. I'm forgetting to use my notes here. These are the Lovers, and this is a really iconic. Now, you're going to see a lot of elephants in this deck, obviously, because elephants are throughout the circus, but elephants also represent intelligence and sensitivity, and elephants are amazing creatures. So you have the Lovers, you have your boy clown and your girl clown, and you also have, they have an apple between them, and the apple, if you follow your biblical teachings, apple represents, kind of like knowledge that might reveal too much to you. The Lovers reminds you that love is a choice. It's a card of like impulse, but also impulse sometimes with hazards. And so now you have your Chariot, and you have, basically 4 horses. Now, I love the biblical overtones of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. I love that. This represents, irrepressible forces and courage and training and luck. But it represents having control over circumstances. Kind of maybe your own will to a degree, if you think about it. Love that. I love that the imagery is not super cartoonish, but it is cartoonish, but it's just beautiful. This is your Strength, and you've got your lion tamer, and I love that that one's a little bit, it could be a girl or a boy. It's a little bit gender neutral on that. Your Strength card is basically says, the trainer doesn't have fear of the lion, but it's not, if you'll notice, there's no whip in that trainer's hand, and it's because the strength of this card comes from like compassion for the animal. It's about having the great connection to the temperament of another. Okay. And then, the Hermit. I love this. And this is the sad clown that you'll see this in every circus, or the good circuses, I'll say. The Hermit represents a solitary figure, but the solitary figure is really not alone because he's in the middle of the ring. He's got the light shining on himself and he looks alone, but then you've still got all the people out in the darkened audience, right? And it represents, making order from chaos. It's your own quest for enlightenment, and maybe some nobility and some humility along with that. Beautiful card. I love the Wheel of Fortune representation here. The Wheel of Fortune, and you guys, I always hated watching this particular act because it gave me crazy anxiety. It's that ring that goes round and round and round, and it's kind of like using your skill to ride the Wheel of Fate. Your skill will protect you from the dizzying turns, but you could also fall and like crash to the bottom. That one gives me crazy anxiety. And then you have Justice, and as you can see, Joe Lee has done an amazing job of following the spirit of, the original Rider-Waite's. You'll recognize a lot of the imagery, but he's really put his own spin on it. Great color on this card. Justice, this represents not being distracted. It's focus. It's about balancing everything and following the rules, following the law. Focus, focus, focus with Justice. I love that. Beautiful card. This card is the Hanged Man. And this card, kind of represents patience, taking time to think about things before you act and letting an idea mature before you act on it. That guy's just kind of hanging around up there patiently. He's not struggling. And now we have Death. Now, I find it interesting that Death is the 13th card of the Major Arcana. Now, if you've ever seen this act, so you've got a clown, but he's got like a skeleton on his back. And if you've never seen this act, a clown will come out and he'll like look back and see the skeleton on his back, and he gets all afraid and he starts trying to get away from it, but he doesn't realize that it's attached to his back. And much like the death card, it's kind of like no matter how fast you run, you know, death is going to find you. This is a card of transformation. And it can be, you know, representing something coming to a close, but it's like not a permanent, it's not a permanent thing. It's a process. It represents unforeseen outcomes, things that you don't expect, or maybe things you're not aware of on some level. Let me go down here so I can get the rest of my notes here. And this card is Temperance. Again, you're going to recognize the Rider-Waite imagery, the twins that are joined, you know, and they've got their cup, you know, with water flowing back and forth. This represents, you know, your twin nature, but it also represents balance and you know, kind of moderating things between you. That is a beautiful card. I love that Jolie has included so many of these sideshow performers too. Oh, there is the Devil card. You guys, the Devil is all about the fleshy desires, all about lust and instinct and just kind of, you know, going with your emotional flow there. And you can see he's got some chained figures, you know, chained by desire and lusty and just those old steamy emotions. I love that card. Then you have the Tower. Now, this is all about the fireworks and whether or not it's going to plunge you to your depths. And you know, the Tower kind of reminds us that if you fail, that can also be your greatest, you know, your greatest accomplishment. It's your failure is also your greatness. The Tower is a hard card to get, and it sometimes is scary when you get it, but it's all about things coming crashing down so that you can start all over and build new and better a lot of times. It doesn't mean that the process doesn't suck, but it's amazing. This is the Star. I also love this act. I love and loathe everything that happens in the air because I'm personally terrified of heights, but I love the Star because it represents raining down the blessings from above. You can see she's pouring her water out to the ring below. And it's about divinity and maybe nurturing a little bit too. This is the Moon. Again, look at that beautiful illustration. You can see your crab and your dog, and you know, you've got your lady kind of hanging upside down. The Moon is all about instinct, and it's going with the flow and kind of letting outside forces guide you. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm going down here, you guys. So here you have the Sun. You guys, here is the tiger jumping through the fiery ring, and then you've got the fence around it so that the people can stay safe. The Sun is all about blazing splendor. It's about enjoying the warm glow, but also staying behind the fence so that you can, you know, stay safe. You want to keep danger at bay. And I love the tiger imagery. That almost looks like a tattoo, you know, kind of like the old school 1940s Sailor Jerry stuff. And then you have Judgment. I love, again, biblical overtones in tarot. You have your Judgment. It's the last judgment, the last trumpet. This is, you know, this signifies that the circus is over. It's time for endings and kind of, you know, understanding what it is you've seen and experienced. And you see the people are kind of, they're going to file out of the tent, you know, because he's blown his horn. You know that song, Gabriel, Blow Your Horn? That's what I always think of when I see this. This, by far, is one of my favorite cards in this whole deck. Jolie, he did a beautiful job on the World card. You have an elephant balancing on an egg. And, you know, elephants represent sensitivity and intelligence and the sense of being whole with the world, being one with emotions. And then you have the delicate little egg that is the symbol of beginning of life, of becoming something new. So, really, the world kind of represents the egg and the elephant. It's the act of becoming and the act of being. So it kind of represents being present with everything and having the world at your fingertips and, you know, the delicacies of life, delicately balanced on an egg. I love that. Beautiful, beautiful card. So then we're going to start with the wands. I'm not going to go through, I'm not going to make comment on every one of these. I just want you to be able to see them. You know, your wand cards represent your tent poles. You know, your stakes and your sledgehammers and the workers that kind of keep the show running. You're going to see a lot of, you know, iconic figure, your strongman figures that are putting the tents up and using animals to pull the, there's your tent stake, issuing forth from the clouds, of course. You know, this is all about, you know, keeping things going. I love that Jolie has included so many different characters and elements of the circus. He has a beautiful understanding of not only the tarot, but of the circus, and he's blended those two beautifully. I love that these illustrations also all have a poster, like, you know, those old circus posters or sideshow posters that you would see from the 1930s through the 50s. These cards, the coloring, they all remind me of that. Again, you've got another, he's got lots of elephants in this deck. I love that. These are going to move on to the coin suit. The coins are all about the front end of the circus. You're talking about the people who work for the show, but they're not the entertainers. It's kind of all things about managing business and money and, you know, your wealth. So you've got the king, and then you've got, you know, your bookkeeper lady. And again, he has included every single iconic figure from the Circus in such a beautiful way. This is the popcorn seller. Just love that. Just a gorgeous, see, recognize this, the Two of Coins. That's a very iconic Rider-Waite imagery, and Jolie has adapted these beautifully. You guys, I cannot say enough. Have you noticed, like, the size of these cards? The size of these cards are really bigger than most tarot, which makes it nice for people like me to handle. I have arthritic hands. I love how he's done this. Amazing job. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful color. And you know, he's done a great job of including the inside of the circus as well as the sideshow, as well as the act of putting the circus together and building the tents and all that. We're going into the sword deck. This is all about the sideshow, the oddities and the strange things that you're going to be seeing. So you've got your bearded lady right there. I love that he's included all of the extra characters. There's your sword thrower. Look at that. Your flame swallower, or fire eater if you want to call her. I love that he's got both women and men. He's got characters of all colors, shapes and sizes. He's done really, really well with representing what the circus and the sideshow is about. There's your guy that lays on a bed of swords or nails with the anvil on him. This is your tattooed guy. I'm trying to get really close so you can see the guy that's tattooed. He's included basically every iconic figure that you're going to find in the sideshow. Isn't that gorgeous? There's your lady on the wheel. I would crap my pants if that was me. Beautiful imagery. So we're getting into the cups now. You know, your cups are all about emotions, and let me make sure that I've got all my notes. Yeah. All about emotions, but these are also about, this is kind of the fantasy, the flying high, you know, side of the circus. It's about your senses, memories, emotions, and you're going to see a lot of acrobats, a lot of aerial type workers. There's your tightrope walker. Look at that. Gorgeous. I love what he's done with the scale of some of the imagery. Some of the images are oversized. Some of them are, you know, you can really see the illumination of the circus around them. Amazing deck. The coloring is just beautiful. I'm so impressed with this. I think this is probably one of the most whimsical yet beautiful decks I've seen in a long, long time. And I love that Jolie has really stayed true to the Rider-Waite imagery. That's very recognizable, and if you're used to only reading that particular deck, it's not like you have to relearn a whole new deck. Ten of Cups. I love this card because this is all about happy marriages and all things bountiful and good, and he's included like all the little elements of the circus. So beautiful. So that is your deck. Let me turn this up here so that you can see me now instead of my chesticles. Sorry. You guys, I am so in love with this deck. I've been working with this deck now for a couple of days, and I am just incredibly impressed with it. It's a really good quality. The cards are nice and heavy. I am a huge circus freak. I love all things of the circus, and I cannot say enough nice things about this deck. So I just wanted to share that with you and give you a chance to see it if you've been thinking about purchasing it. You guys, this deck is not expensive. I thought this deck would be 40 or 50 bucks. It's not. They sent this to me, and I want to say it's in the 20-something dollar range. Well worth it in my opinion, and probably one of the most unique decks I've seen in a long time. So that is my unboxing, show and tell review. And by the way, highly recommend this deck. It's a beautiful deck to work with. It's amazing. Of the LeGrande Circus and Sideshow Tarot by Jolie. And thanks to US Games for sending this over. And until next time, many blessings. Bye-bye.